Life is a winding road.
A few days back, we showed a difficult example of how not to deal with the RV tanks. See the link in the upper right corner of the video.
Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes.
So I wanted for you to at least see that some folks actually do a great job of dealing with the black and the gray tank systems.
You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
When these folks left, another couple pulled in a day or two prior to us leaving, and they are what this video is about.
Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down.
And yes, we did stop for some repairs prior to landing at our current park.
And I really wanna know.
So, tell us, what are your reasons for RVing? Let us know in the comments below.
Where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And
Back in school, way back in school, of the books we had to read and report on was The Grapes of Wrath, a John Steinbeck novel published in 1939 as a work of fiction about the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, and about 10 or so years later, it won a Nobel Prize. Honestly, not something I would have read, considering that my typical interests were more like sci-fi and action-adventure. Forced to read it, I found it kind of depressing, but it had the ability to draw me in with the tragedy that was happening in their time. I swore to myself that I would not let this happen to me, that I could insulate myself. The American dream could be had if I worked hard, dedicated myself to my job, stayed in it for the long haul, have a good retirement, medical, a home, and a loving family and friends.
start from the ground. And
So that's what I did. I put my nose to the grind and I didn't look up until near time to retire. That can be problematic because there was always someone with a get-rich scheme that most often didn't pan out, but occasionally did.
I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind.
It was difficult to balance all that I wanted and occasionally would let one aspect or the other slip. Okay, where am I headed with this? Well, it's about a conversation I had yesterday with an older couple with a travel trailer that had camped next to us at the park we were at. What they said devastated me. Let me explain why. They were probably in their mid-70s and in good shape for their age, but you could tell that they had been working together for quite a while. They were bluntly open with me, but didn't want to appear on camera. It all started when I saw him struggling to get something out of the back of his truck. Their setup was anywhere from 3 to 5 years old, a Dodge pickup, and about the same age travel trailer with 2 slides, maybe 30 or so feet long. He consented to the help, and when we were done, he sat down with his wife at our picnic table. We began talking about why we RV. His story really left me thinking. They basically told me that they had done the same thing as I, and felt fairly insulated from the ravages of time. But sometimes things beyond your control or ability to foresee can happen. They found that the dream home they worked so hard for was becoming an albatross around their necks. No longer did they have a need for all the space or property, not to mention that, somewhat like RVs, things get old and need updating, maintaining, or repairing. Being meticulous, it was too much to just clean the home and maintain the yard, so they did what we did: they sold. They already had the RV and truck, so the plan was to see what they could till they just weren't capable. This was really sounding familiar. They saw that the buying power of their money was dwindling rapidly, and news reports of kids, for lack of a better name we'll call burger flippers, were demanding upwards of $15 an hour for unskilled jobs. They chuckled that in their time, $2 an hour was pretty much considered a king's ransom. They wondered if these folks had any concern for the ramifications of their demands, that a sudden boost in wages would only provide some temporary relief, that to pay those wages, government and businesses would have to raise the price of their services and goods to continue to stay in business. In essence, putting them right back where they are now. The big difference would be the effect on the older generations, those retired folks who worked their lives to have the American dream. Examples they used were those of their own children and grandchildren, as they put it, that couldn't see past the desires and mostly confused those desires with needs. Oh, they tried to explain, but as she said, it seems that society and younger generations have succumbed to the "wah, when is it ever going to be right for me" attitude. I've heard this before. Thank you, Rick. So what were they going to do? They said for their time, their retirement was adequate, but for now it was kind of falling short. I commented that for the last few years, I've noticed the steady increase in the cost of simple things, necessities, food, medical, medicine, city services, etc. They agreed, and that the only thing that has come down somewhat was fuel, but that all the other things had made it moot. They knew that in time all prices would rise. It was just built into every system. Of course, the biggest fear was losing or their health care diminishing. I agreed and asked her what she was going to do, that statistically men go before their wives. She said that their oldest child was now at an age where he has realized that mom and dad really did know what they were talking about all those years, and though they don't discuss financial matters with them, he had become more intuitive. He and his loving wife have offered them a place to stay whenever they want, even offering to build an addition if they'd like. They've told them that for now, travel is what they want, but wouldn't close the door on the gracious offer. They chuckled and said that, to prove his sincerity, he installed full-service hookups and a concrete pad for, laughing again, a mooch docking experience. What a couple. They held hands and hugged during the whole conversation. I occasionally saw what I thought was a tear form as they talked about their experiences, but not of sadness, more of joy for their love for each other. They are happy and have a lifetime of wonderful and happy memories they have shared together. They live modestly and within their means at a time where this is becoming harder and harder. We are seeing now, in hard economic times, many getting into RVing and selling everything else off. I'm not suggesting that this could be equivalent to the Great Dust Bowl of 1930 and epic migration to find some form of gainful employment, but we do have to realize that most folks are just a paycheck or two away from economic disaster. A pandemic could be just the shove that causes it to happen to many. RVs of all kinds have an extremely high demand right now, and the supply is limited. It kind of makes you wonder, do people have a sense of something that is coming, or do they just want to get away from the grind for a while? I don't have the answer, but I do pray for all of those, us, who have paid their debt, and those who through no fault of their own have been put in harm's way, especially for the older loving couple who shared their thoughts with me. It does make one take pause. Please, travel safe. I wonder if Shelley would... nah.
Even if the sky is falling down,